Hey, guys. Erase the line. Quit playing games and embrace your cross. Where's Ashlyn at? Where did she go? Turn those lights down. I can't see their beautiful faces out here. Hey, welcome to the Ozark family. We're so glad that you're coming. Thank you very much for your words. Yeah, that's very cool. Thank you guys for coming to Ozark Christian College on this bright, sunny Friday that we have here. We're so glad that you guys are here. As Joe was calling out different states that I was hearing, and I was hearing the screaming and knowing some of the churches that are here, I almost never do this, but I got to apologize to some of you that are here because you've heard parts of this message before. Okay? And some of people were going, Bob, is it the plates? Like, how many of you have heard that plate thing that I do? Yeah, we'll stay away from that tonight, okay? No plates. The rest of you are going, plates, what the heck, okay? But we'll start out with maybe one of those would you rather games, only it's my version. We'll call it, is it better to, okay? So is it better to, we'll start off easy here, is it better to worship God or worship idols? That's a stupid question, isn't it? I'm in a Christian college, for crying out loud. I work for a Christian college. So who says God? Let me see you again. I need lights in here. I can't see anything. Okay, who says idols? There's always one chucklehead in the group that's like, oh, I'll be that guy. Okay, all right. That one's easy. All right, is it better to stay pure? You know, like pure? I don't want to say that word or anything. Or is it better to maybe have a little bit of hanky-panky before you get one of these? So pure hanky-panky. Y'all know the right answer is pure, but in your heart of hearts, you just want to say the words hanky-panky because it's... So go ahead and just say that just for the fun of it. 1, 2, 3. Sounds so bad. All right. Is it better to enjoy all of God's creation? Mountains, oceans, giraffes, elephants, all that good stuff. Or is it better to take a cute little puppy and kick it in the face? This one's debatable, don't you think? Who says enjoy creation? All right. Who wants to kill me for even mentioning kicking a puppy? It's horrible. Horrible. There's a youth group here that made a video at camp about kicking a puppy, and sure enough, in slow motion, they took a little stuffed dog, and they kicked that sucker, and it was like, it was the best video I've ever seen in my life. It's so awesome. All right, last one. Is it better to pray or kill somebody? That's debatable. Depends on if your boyfriend broke up with you on the way down here. You will unfriend him and kill him. And then pray for his soul. All right, so help me out here. For real now, for real. Is it better to pray or to kill somebody? I don't think this one's debatable at all. Because I think there's some people in here that need to die. Do you see me laughing? Because I ain't playing. I can tell you right now, there are people that came here looking to have a good time, get a scholarship. How many of you all preached this afternoon in our preaching competition? Yeah, you guys did an awesome job. You came down just to get away. How many of you are glad you are not at school right now? Yeah. Can I get an amen, Bob? Yeah, no kidding. Maybe you came to get away from family. Maybe you just came just because your youth pastor said, hey, you should go to this thing. I have no idea why you're here or why you decided to come, but I think God brought some of you here intentionally to die. That you are here to die. Do you believe me? maybe you need a little bit of background, okay? We need to talk about this death and killing thing just a little bit. Because I said, is it better to pray or to die? And you're going, well, they're two totally separate issues right now. But there's a time where those two things weren't very separate, and some people were doing one of them, and when they should have been doing the other one of them. Does this make sense? It'll make more sense if you turn into the book that I'm sure you all were reading on the way down here, Numbers, chapter 25. Everybody's favorite Bible book, Numbers. Yeah, my favorite killing story is in Numbers. I absolutely love it. It's there. But we got to figure out if the killing was right or if the praying was right, okay? So here's the way it goes. Moses and his whole clan, the Israelites, they're wandering around in the desert for how many years again? 40 years, yeah, and it's getting to be a long time. And so then they find a nice spot to kind of pop a squat. That's for my Texas friends in here, okay? They pop a squat down there, and they're right butted up next to a clan called the Moabite clan. So you've got these millions of Israelites and then all these Moabite people, and they're right next to each other. And God has given them some specific commandments of, I want you to stay away from the Moabites, especially their women, because they're hot. And I know that you know that they're hot, but they're also bad. Oh, they're so bad. Don't go anywhere near them. I know you're like, woo, Moabite women. Woo! But God is saying, because they're going to do some things. First of all, they're going to lure you in with their hotsy-totsiness, and they're going to be like, hey, boys. Is that not the whitest ankle you've ever seen in your life? Man, I don't wear shorts much. They're going to lure you in with their hotness, and they're going to get you, Israelites, to engage in sexual immorality, and then they're going to get you through the avenue of sex to start worshiping idols, and you're going to be having these big love feasts where you're mixing up food and idol worship and sex, and it just sounds like a Thanksgiving nightmare to me, doesn't it to you? Ugh. There's some nasty, nasty stuff that's about to happen if they cross over with the Moabites. But we know our Israelite clan, don't we? And we know that they always obeyed the word of the Lord, didn't they? That's how they ended up in the desert in the first place. Yeah, they didn't obey. And the kicker is that it wasn't just this random snot-nosed 16-year-old that's like, like, I want to lose my virginity. I just sounded like Beavis and Butthead, and I'm so sorry. It wasn't like the young guys there. It was their older males, the leaders of their clans that were going over, and they were partaking in sexual immorality with these Moabite women. And they were partaking in the worship of Baal of Peor, and they were partaking in these just orgy-like love feast things. And it was so far off from what God had intended for them, not only just sexually, but also in their worship. Because they weren't even worshiping their Creator and the one that brought them out of Egypt. I mean, they had abandoned all of that completely. And because it was the leaders, because it was these guys, when leaders start to go a certain direction, people follow. Where the shepherd goes, the sheep follow. And so because it was the leaders, God said, I'm going to do something, because what these few leaders are doing right now is just a small, minute taste of what the entire nation is going to be embarking on very, very soon. And so if we could cut this off right here, right now, maybe the nation of Israel will turn back and worship me. And so God calls Moses. Who did he call? Moses. Just seeing if you're with me. God calls Moses and he says, Moses, come here. Moses says, okay, what do you need? He goes, we need to have a talk. He goes, okay. He goes, I'm going to tell you to do something, and it's going to be pretty difficult to do. He goes, okay. I want you to round up all these leaders. You know who I'm talking about, the ones that are messing around over there on the other side of the creek. Yeah? I want you to round them up. I want you to kill them. I want you to just stone cold kill them. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you get a cannon. I don't care if you slit their throat. I don't care if you go modern warfare on them. I don't care. Just kill them. Now, and I bring up that point about modern warfare because we hear that, and I think we've been so saturated with killing in our society that it has become so easy. and we hear testimony of school shootings and hospital shootings and all just the depravity of the world and our nation, especially around us, because we've made killing just so easy. It is not easy to kill for real, especially when these are your friends. Moses is a leader. These other leaders are messing around. You know, leaders always hang out with leaders, and so here Moses is, and he's told to go kill your best friends because they're disobeying the Lord and they're going to lead the entire nation astray. So go kill. Moses says, you sure you just don't want me to give him a stern talking to? No, go kill him. And kill him dead, and throw their bodies in the middle of the street. Throw them in the middle of the town square so that everybody can see them. Let the birds pluck out their eyes. Let the vultures come and feast on their flesh. Just throw them right there so that everybody can see what will happen when they turn away from me. Worship other gods. I don't know about you, but I don't think I could do it. Joe Banker's becoming a really good friend. If God said he's got to go, I'd say, Larry, could you take care of Joe? That's exactly what Moses does. Moses realizes that the Lord's words his commands need to be obeyed, but he doesn't want to be the one that gets his hands bloodied. And so he calls all of Israel's judges together. He says, come here, guys, come on in. We got to huddle up. So they kind of huddle up like a football team. He says, all right, guys. I'm Moses, right? Yeah, you're Moses. You're our leader. Well, you know that I go up on the mountain a lot and God talks to me, right? Yeah. He gives you a lot of good words and sets us straight and everything. He goes, well, here's the deal. I've been talking with God about these leaders out here that have been sinning with the women on the other side of the creek. And God told me that they need to die. Oh, shouldn't we just give them a stern talking to? No, God was pretty clear that they need to die. As a matter of fact, God was talking to me, and he told me to tell you that you need to go round up all these leaders, and you need to kill them. Take their bodies, throw them out in the middle of the street so everybody can see what's going on, and they'll repent. Whoa, wait a second. What did God say? What did God say? Moses, go kill. Did he say, Moses, go find some other people, go hire some hitmen to go kill for you? No, he didn't say that at all. He said, Moses, step up, be a man, and go kill. But Moses took the weak spiritual way out and said, okay, well, I need to have a committee meeting about it. We got to have a little meeting about it. So he has a meeting and passes the buck off onto the Israelite leaders. Now, as far as they're concerned, is this Moses passing the buck, or is this just a command from God? This is just a command from God because Moses has talked to God and told them and given them the instructions before. So in their minds, what should they now go and do? Kill. God wants them to kill, and he wants to kill them dead. Throw their streets out where? Wait, throw their bodies out where? I just gave you... Dang it. Yeah. Throw their bodies where? Thank you. Here's what they do. God's given them specific commands. Moses has given them the word. Moses, Eleazar, the judges, this guy named Phinehas, not Phineas and Ferb, another guy named Phinehas. They all gather in the tent of meeting. Their worship place, their meeting place, where they gather for things like prayer and worship and sacrifice and, all of the stuff that goes on in the tent of meeting. And they gather up there. And they're weeping and they're crying because nobody has obeyed the Lord, and so God has sent a plague among them. Not just killing off the Israelite leaders that are sinning with these women, but God has sent a plague among them, and it's killing off everybody. Women, children, leaders, non-leaders. People are dying all around them from a plague from God because they will not heed the word of the Lord. And if somebody would just step up and kill, this plague would be stopped. And so there they are, and they're in the tent of meeting, and it says that they're weeping and praying to God. Oh God, why is this happening to us? Oh God, why won't you lift up this plague? Oh God, we had it better in Egypt. Why are we out here in the desert? Oh God, please help us. God has already given them the solution to the problem. Nobody wants to get their hands dirty. Nobody wants to go and kill. Nobody wants to see death. God's given them the solution. And so this whole time they're weeping and they're crying. And so it answers our question. Does God want us to pray, or does he want us to kill? Kill. And there are a lot of people in here that just simply need to die. As they're weeping and crying out, one of the prominent Israelite leaders that has been committing this gross and disgusting acts of idol worship and sexual immorality. He walks by the tent of meeting. And you get the impression that he flaunts by the tent of meeting because he's got one of these Midianite, Moabite, hotsy-totsy women right on his arm. And he just walks right in front of the doorway of the tent of meeting. He does it, and you get the impression that he does it on purpose, almost like a challenge to Moses. I know what God told you, that we're supposed to be dead, but you're too weak-willed to do it. And I know what you told the judges. Word gets around, Moses, and I know that they're in here and they're just weeping and praying. And I know that there's a plague amongst all of our people, and I don't care. I want this woman now. And he walks by and he flaunts this woman right in front of the tent, and he goes into his own tent and he begins to engage in, you know what. I'm so glad you're high schoolers. You should see horrified moms' faces when I'm preaching this, like with junior hires. Oh, my baby, you know. So he goes walking by, flaunts the women, begins to engage in sexual activity, and that's finally when this guy Phineas just has enough. He's sick of it. He's tired of the plague that's killing off his friends and family. He's tired of the weak-willed judges that are in there praying. He's tired of his dad not stepping up, the priest. He's tired of Moses, his great-uncle, not doing anything about it. He's tired of everybody seeing what God says, praying out for help, and nobody's just killing those things that are killing them. And so what he does is he goes and he grabs a spear. How cool is it in their place of worship and meeting that they have spears on the wall? When your church goes through a remodel, spears, swords, nunchucks, throwing stars, bow staffs, get some army, get it all in there, just in case you got to kill somebody. He grabs a spear. He walks into this house while they're doing the nasty, takes the spear, drives it through the dude on top and into the woman's body. You didn't know the Bible was so rated R, did you? Like, where the heck is that? Is that passage he said? It's better than Song of Solomon, isn't it? But it says that he drove that spear right through the man's body into the woman's gut. And both of them died right there. And it says the plague was instantly lifted off of Israel. But not after 24,000 people died. 24,000 people had to die. And killing one of their own would have solved the problem if they would have just obeyed right from the beginning. It goes on to talk a little bit about this guy Phineas, and it says that God makes a covenant of peace with him, the most violent one in the bunch. And think about this for a second. God's making a covenant of peace. I don't know if you know what that's like, but that means that there's animosity between us at one time. There's something that's separating us from man and God, and yet God is saying, hey, I'm wiping all of that away. I've torn down that wall, and now we have a covenant of peace that we can be this close with each other all the time. Covenant of peace for stabbing a dude. It's pretty cool. Now, what's the point? What's the point? I know. The point is tonight when we go to the bridge, you see two people making out in the corner, grab something. If you can't find anything to kill him, grab a frying pan or something, just knock him out at least. We got medical waivers, it's all good. I don't think that's exactly what God is getting at. I think God's trying to tell us the first things that I said here. Erase the line, quit playing games, embrace your cross. The point is that even before we can talk about the cross or this strange word that a guy that wrote a book just made up, cruciformity, conforming to the image of the crucified Christ. In other words, we like to pretty that up a little bit, and we like to say, oh, well, I'm Christ-like. I'm going to be like Jesus sort of thing. Well, instead of prettying it up, we're saying, no, it's cruciformity. Conforming to the image of the crucified Christ. Kind of like one of the big things that Jesus did here on earth that maybe we should be mimicking and following that and taking on the cross as an ethic instead of a trinket that we wear around our neck. But before we could even get to any of that stuff, we have to ask ourselves the same question. Are we here to pray or are we here to die? What does God want us to do with this text and with this imagery? Before we can even think about what Jesus Christ has done on the cross, we got to think about where we stand in relation to the cross. Because we are just like Moses. We want to pass the buck, don't we? Because we don't want to get our hands dirty. Because if we embrace something like this, it will cost you. It will cost you. So we want to pass the buck. We want to take the spiritual way out by praying and weeping instead of getting up and killing like God commands us to do. Christians, we do it all the time. When we're confronted with something in our own minds, well, I'll just pray about it. I'll just pray about this relationship that I'm in that I'm not supposed to be in. What do you mean you'll pray about it? No, kill it. Be done with it. Well, I'm going to pray about my anger issues. I'm going to pray. Now, I'm not knocking prayer. I mean, it's all over the Bible. Yes, I say pray. But when God has already given us the answers of what we need to do, there is no reason to pray about it. The only thing that we need to do is obey it. Go. If you're going to pray a prayer, God, give me strength because I got some killing to do. I mean, it's as simple as that. And you can pick whatever poison that you want, whether it's lying or talking about your parents or the garbage that you're doing on the computer or just the materialism or the gossip or the nastiness that you've been involved in or the addictions that you have. I could go on and on and on forever about all the different things that we need to kill within our Christian society. The question is are you going to do it or not? I'll just pray about it. I'll just listen to some Christian music. That'll make me feel better. Let's go to those little weekend conferences at Ozark. That'll take care of it. I'll post a Bible verse on Facebook. That'll show people that I'm Christian. It's stupid. It's stupid when we think that we can go to a convention, lie to our friends, by confessing some generalized, cleaned up version of the disgusting filth that fills our lives that needs to die. And expect that that's going to just satisfy God. That, here, God, look at this. We almost treat God like a dog. Oh, here, God. Or a little boy, maybe. Like, oh, you're so sweet. See, look at these nice things that I've done for you. You're not doing anything for God. You're just fooling yourselves. Meanwhile, like 24,000 people dying, you're dying on the inside. You got to kill. You got to kill it now. Maybe tonight's the night that we take personal responsibility. Remember, I asked you why you came here and threw out a million different reasons, and I said, well, some people in here, they came here to die. Maybe you're going to die tonight because you did not expect to hear anything like this, but there's something that's maybe stirring in your soul just a little bit. Something that you already know. You've got it tagged in your mind of this is what needs to die. Maybe you'll take personal responsibility to slaughter the sin that is so much killing you and even people around you so that you can embrace a covenant of peace with God for a change. I mean, maybe that's why God has brought you here. As you could tell by my buff physique, I used to work out. I did. I was working out. Before I came here to Ozark, I quit working out the moment I got here. And I don't know why. But in Ozark, I met a good friend of mine named Mike Gugino. He lived down the street from me. This guy was about as tall as this cross and as wide as this cross from his ankles all the way up to his head. He just looked like two mini fridges that are in the dorms stacked on top of each other. And he was just all muscle, and I when I met him and I went into his gym that was at his house, he built this magnificent gym, and there's pictures of himself and medals and trophies up because this guy was second in the nation in deadlifting in his weight class, like boom, boom. I mean, just massive amounts of weight that this guy can lift. He believed in zero cardio. That's why I liked him, because Mike was not going to make me run one step. How many of y'all in here are runners? Yeah, you guys are weird. I don't know how you can enjoy that whatsoever. No offense. I know. But Mike's Mike's version of cardio was lift more weights. If you want to get your heart rate going, lift more weights. And I thought, well, okay, I can lift weights. And so I'd go and work out with Mike. One day I'd walk in. Well, he used to do this thing. He was from a different denomination. And so after I was like working out and he had me going and going and going, he would say things like, well, Bob, you believe in once saved, always saved, don't you? And I'm going, wait, no, I don't. We're not on. And I couldn't argue with him, and he'd wait till I was like completely out of breath, and I'm wanting water. He's like, not till you answer the question. And so he'd debate with me theologically, and then if I didn't come to his stance, he would just pound me even harder in the gym. I was like, man, I'm losing here. So I became a full-fledged Baptist while I was working out, and I was just perfectly fine with it, you know. So no offense to Baptists, we're all like see you in heaven. Okay, all right. I'm going to get in trouble with Ozark now, Larry. So we're working out, and one day I walk into his gym, and he goes, hey, glad you're here. Sit down and start bench pressing. I thought, boy, no hello, no hi. And he goes, no, start benching. I go, how much you got on there? Don't worry about it. He said, sit down, lay down, start benching. I said, oh, okay, well, how many reps do you want me to do? I want you to push that bar until I tell you to quit. I said, oh, so like 3 reps of 10. Is that what I said? No. What'd I say? This is my conversation here. You catching this? I don't know. What'd you say? I said, sit down, start benching, and don't stop until I tell you to quit. Oh, so you want 5 reps of 10. Sit down and start benching and don't stop until I tell you to quit. And I was like, oh, okay, this is due, sort of thing. So I start benching, and I'm counting out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I get to 10, and I'm ready to put the bar. Keep going. And he gets up. He stood on a box because he was so short that when I'd bench, it would like hit his chin as he was spotting me. And so he stood up on a box, and he has a bulldog bald head, and his beet red. He's going, come on, push, lift, kill it. Come on, push, lift, kill it. Come on, you can chant with me. It's fun. Come on, push, lift, kill it. Come on, push, lift, kill it. And so he's going, and I'm going, and I'm going, and I'm going, whoa, it's killing me, you know, sort of thing. And I'm benching. I keep waiting for him to say stop, and he just keeps yelling at me. And finally, I uttered the 2 words that I so desperately regret. And one of them was a contraction. Do you know what it is? I can't. Only it sounded like this. I can't. And he goes, what? I said, I can't. He goes, what? And like at this point, my right arm's a little bit stronger than the left, and so it's like, I can't. And he grabs it with one hand, throws it up on the bar, and before I even know what's happening, he's back in front of me. He grabs me by the shirt, stands me up, and just starts yelling at me. Do you know who I am? Yeah, you're Mike. Do you know what I can do? Yes, you can kill me now. He goes, look at those medals. Look at my awards. Look at me on the cover of Muscle and Fitness magazine. Do you think I know what I'm doing here? Yes, I think I know what you're doing. I know your body better than you know your body. I know your abilities better than you know your abilities. And so when I tell you to do something, and as hard as it is, and as difficult as it is, you will never, ever tell me that you can't. Now sit down and bench until I tell you to quit or get out. So I sat down. And I benched more I did the second time than I did the first time, and I was already weakened. Finally, he told me to quit, and he took that bar. I said, now that's what I'm talking about. Get out of my gym. What if we took that same principle and we recognized that Jesus Christ knows your body better than you know your body? Jesus Christ knows your heart better than you know your heart. He knows your abilities better than you know your abilities. He knows the depth of your sin more than you know the depth of your sin. He knows what you're good at and strong at and your righteousness and your unrighteousness, and he knows all of this. And what if you just don't stop embracing your cross until he tells you to quit? Instead of uttering, I can't, it's too hard. Paul said, for if you live according to the sinful nature, you will die. What did Paul say? If you live according to the sinful nature, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death, if you kill the misdeeds of the body, you will live. Live by the sinful nature, you will die. Put to death the misdeeds of the body, your flesh, you're going to live. That's embracing. That's embracing the opposite of the I can't attitude. Lots of people in here need to die. Lots of people in here need to erase the line and quit playing the games and embrace the cross. So how do you do that? I mean, are you supposed to kill yourself? I mean, obviously we don't want suicide here on our campus whatsoever, or anywhere for that matter. So what does that look like? It looks like this young lady that was in my youth group, we'll call her Mary. And Mary, she was a pistol. Single mom, her and her brother just ran her house sort of thing. She'd come to Sunday school in the morning. As a youth pastor, I'd be teaching, and she was just constantly pitching fits with me, intentionally disrupting class. None of you ever do that to your youth pastor, do you? No. But she took it to the extreme, and I just don't deal well with this sort of stuff. I just get angry really, really quickly. And so I'd call her out on it. I'd say, Mary, you need to quit. You just need to stop. Every week she'd come back, she wouldn't stop, and it's like, well, she, it's a rough home life sort of thing. She needs to be here at Sunday school. But at this point, she's distracting so much that nobody can learn within the class, and so whether she's there or not, it really doesn't matter because Jesus isn't being glorified in this class. And so I finally warned her. I said, okay, if you disrupt class again, you're going to have to leave. You're just gone. And she said, well, you can't kick me out of the church. I said, well, I'm going to kick you out of my class. No, you won't. See ya. I said, you got to go. Enough's enough. We're going to study God's word. If you want to do that, stay. If you don't want to do that, go. She gets up in a huff, and she's gone. People are mad at me because I don't love, and I kick people out of the church and this and that. I just said, hey, she I explain it. They don't like it sort of thing. Her mom calls me, and I got an earful. We're never coming back to this church again sort of thing. I called her several times saying, hey, I want you to come back. I want to have a meeting with you. I want to sit down and work this out. None of that was going to be working with mom or her, and they were just done. And so I kept calling, and they just finally quit answering my calls, and I just quit calling. And I thought, man, I hate this. I hate this because the young lady did need Jesus. And I didn't hear from them for a couple of months when finally I get a frantic phone call from her mom, and it's just Gretchen's in the hospital. Oh, I just said her name. I'm so sorry. Well, we'll just stick with that. There's just people in here that know her. And so Gretchen's in the hospital. I said, oh, what happened? I don't know. She just took a bunch of pills, and she's in the hospital. And so I get up there. I go up to the emergency room, and I find out she's attempted suicide. She just took a bunch of pills, and she couldn't remember what she took, and she was kind of out of it at the time, and so they were just pumping her stomach. And so I'm getting there and kind of waiting for them, and they put charcoal or something, and it just like, ugh, she was just puking everywhere. Well, finally, when she was at a point that she was alert and ready for visitors, she didn't know it would be me walking into that emergency room there, and she looked at me and she said, get out. And boy, she's cussing me up one side and down the other. Here's the deal, though. She was so enraged that they had strapped her to the bed. Thought, well, what's she going to do? I said, no, Gretchen, your mom called me, and I came up here to pray with her. You will not pray for me. I said, well, what are you going to do about it? I'll scream. I said, okay. And so I sit down, and I start praying. And I don't just say, Jesus, please help Gretchen. And, no, I'm like drawing it out. I'm going, dear Lord. And as soon as I said, dear Lord, she's like, ah! I mean, like ear piercing. Only dogs could hear her at some point. One of those screams. I just keep praying. I thought I could pray longer than she could scream. So I just keep praying. She keeps screaming. She runs out of breath. She lets it out again. She just keeps screaming. And nurses are coming in. I'm like praying with my eyes open. And I'm just praying. And then I get right back to it. I don't know what to do. And as soon as I said in Jesus' name, amen, she goes, ah! Leave. I said, I'm not leaving. I said, do you know what they do in this state when a teenager underage commits or attempts to commit suicide? Larry knows. Mandatory. mandatory, at least 2 weeks in a lockdown counseling, group counseling facility, behavioral unit. They're not sending me there. I said, oh, yes, they are. My mom won't let that happen. Your mom doesn't have anything to do with this at this point, honey. You're going, whether you like it or not. Am I right, Larry? She went. She kept telling me, no, she's not going. And here's what I told her. I said, okay, when you go in there, and once things start getting worked out and everything, I want you to make sure that I'm on the visit list. You can have a few visitors, a pastor, a parent, that there's people that could come up and see you. You're not going on my list. I will never want to see you again. You just pray for me again, and I'm going to scream. I was like, oh, okay. I said, just put me on the list. And I went out and I told her mom, I hugged her mom and said, hey, we got to put our baggage behind us for the sake of your daughter. Put me on that list. Love you. And sure enough, 3 or 4 days after she was in, I get a call. And Gretchen, I'd like to see you now. Okay, so I load up my little 1.5-year-old and my wife, and I go up there to see her, but I'm the only one that's allowed back. And I knew there was a problem when we're going up the padded elevator and there's blood splattered on the padded elevator. I'm going, oh, dang, why do I have my wife and child here? So I go in there, and all the rooms are sunshiny and rainbows and, like, happy. It was like, woo, this is kind of weird and creepy. I mean, it was like Teletubbies and the Wiggles just puked in this room. It was creeping me out. Y'all don't even know who those things are, do you? Oh, yeah, you probably, okay. So I go in and I talk with Gretchen, and she's back in her right mind, and she's doing some heavy thinking and praying and trying to get, some things in order. And so she's telling me all the things that she's doing in there, and I said, okay, how long do you have till you get out? And she goes, well, as long as I jump through all the hoops, I'll be out in a couple of weeks, sort of thing. And I said, what are you going to do when you get out? It's because in here it's easy. You just do what you're told, 3 squares a day. What are you going to do when you get out? Your mom's working 40, 50 hours a week, and you're running the streets, and you get back into your old lifestyle. So what are you going to do? She sat there and she thought about it for a little bit. She says, well, I suppose I need to start by killing the things that are killing me. The sermon birthed right there. She said, I need to kill the things that are killing me. Maybe you've been fighting that same mindset because she had this mindset for such a long time that she's not good enough for God. And anything that she does is she's just a screw up, and God's got his thumb down on her, and nobody can accept her. And I even rejected her, and she's just faced rejection after rejection, and so she embraced things that would not reject her, but then they ended up, the bad stuff ended up rejecting her anyway, and that's what got her into the hospital and then got her into this psych ward. And she finally woke up and said, okay, I need to kill the things that are killing me when I get out. Because I'm empty and void and dying and decaying on the inside. I don't want that anymore. Can you help me? Do you guys know the best way to kill something? It's not with a gun. It's not with a sword or a spear like Phineas had. The best way to kill something. For I've been crucified with Christ. It's no longer I that live, but it's Christ that lives in me. If you really want to kill the things that are killing you, you got to climb on a cross. God knew right from the beginning, right from the time that Adam and Eve sinned, and even beforehand, and all throughout Israel's history, and even when Moses and Phineas were going through all of their turmoil that they were going through, right up until the time that little baby Jesus was born, and everybody loves little baby Jesus, but then he grows up, and he starts teaching, he does his miracles, and he wins the popularity contest, which makes the Pharisees and the teachers of the law and the Romans mad, and so they end up killing him. And I'm telling you, the best way to kill the things that are killing you is to crucify them. What do you think Paul means when he says, I've been crucified with Christ? Did Paul literally climb up on a cross? No. He killed the things that were killing him, which was him finally erasing the line. He quit playing the games, and he embraced a cross. I don't know if everybody in here gets this. I think many of you came here because you know it's time to die. It is time to just die, because that's what people do when they climb on a cross. They die. And it's time to kill the things that are killing you, but you cannot do it if you just keep playing the games. You say, okay, I'm going to be baptized, I'm going to be a good kid, I'm going to go to church, I'm going to listen to Christian music, but then we kind of put all of that stuff up as a facade, but then instead of embracing our cross like we know that we need to do, we kind of play the games. And so we'll hang on to the cross with one hand, and we'll embrace the cross when we're at church, but when we're at school, we're going to do our own thing. And we'll keep kind of Jesus right here at arm's length, just in case we need him, sort of thing. And we're going to keep them at arm's length at work, because we don't want people at work to know that, that we're a Christian. And we keep them at arm's length when we're out with our boyfriend or our girlfriend, or we're on the computer, or when we've decided to get angry at our family, or when our parents want us to obey. We keep them at arm's length, but pretty soon we're going to keep walking towards this line. You have to let go of the cross, because what most American Christian teenagers want to do today, and adults for that matter, is not to embrace the cross of Christ. They want to know, how much do I have to do just to get by? What do I have to do just to make it into heaven? I don't want to be a disciple that gets crucified with Jesus Christ, even though he said, if you're going to follow me, you must take up your cross. We don't want to do that. That's too fanatical. We want to know, just what do we have to do to stay on the inside? Because if we go on the outside, then we're going to hell. We don't want to go to hell. And so what do we need to do? Oh, just get baptized? Okay, well, I'll do that. Oh, just go to church? Will that save me? Then I'll just do that. And we play all of these line jumping games, and it's not that way. If you erased hell and erased heaven completely, would you still embrace the cross of Jesus Christ just for the sake of being Christ-like? Just because he's God's son. That's true cruciformity. Not playing the heaven and hell games, for crying out loud. Erase the line. Quit playing the games and embrace your cross. Embrace it. And you'll look like a fool to the world. Climb on it. Kill the things that are killing you, for crying out loud. You love Jesus? And climb up there with them. It's his death that atones us. It's his death that atones us. But so often, we want the love of Jesus Christ on the cross, but we're too afraid to get next to it. We're too afraid to put ourselves in a position to be loved by Jesus Christ the way that he wants to love us. We're too afraid of what everybody over here is going to be saying, when in actuality we should be bringing the cross to the people that are on this side of the line, don't you think? You can't bring a cross somewhere if you don't embrace it, if you don't carry it. You want to know how to kill the things that are killing you? Pick it up. Try it. You might not like it. But I promise you, the moment you take up being Christ-like just for the sake of being Christ-like, that's the moment that those things that have been killing you will have no power over you again. Yeah, you might struggle. You might stumble. Jesus stumbled when he was on the cross, or carrying it, didn't he? When you drop it, you pick it back up again and again and again and again. And this isn't earning your salvation whatsoever. It's just embracing the one that loves you. Why in the world did you come to Deeper Life? Why are you here? Because if you think what I told you is hard, wait till you hear Jeff and Shane. When you finally embrace your cross, you will also embrace resurrection. And I won't even get into that. I'll save that for Shane. But if you want to resurrect, one thing has to happen first. You got to die. And so tonight, when all this is said and done, and you're going to break up into some times with your youth group. As a matter of fact, we put in your bags just these little crosses to even build. Not as a trinket just to wear around your neck, Not as just another fashion symbol that's here, but just for something to you to do to actually build your own cross. And you decide what goes on it. And you decide whether you wear it. And you decide whether you hang it up in your mirror and look at it every day and say, yes, Lord, today is the day that I will kill the things that are killing me, and I will kill those things by embracing you. I don't know you, but I love you just for sitting in here. And as you talk with your youth pastor, as you talk with friends that are here today, maybe when they all go over to the bridge, you just need to find a quiet corner and embrace a cross and allow Jesus to embrace you.